When we think about wealth today, our minds instantly jump to billionaires, stock markets, cryptocurrencies, or giant corporations. But what if I told you that the secrets to building wealth were already discovered thousands of years ago, and they were so timeless that they still work today? That's the beauty of George S. Clason's masterpiece, The Richest Man in Babylon, first published in 1926. This book doesn't bombard us with complicated financial jargon or modern technical theories. Instead, it teaches us about money through simple parables set in the ancient city of Babylon, the richest city of the ancient world. Babylon, as Clason describes, was a place of immense prosperity. It was a city of great walls, magnificent temples, and incredible treasures. But what made it truly fascinating was not just the city's wealth, but how ordinary people in Babylon became wealthy by following a set of very practical principles. These principles weren't miracles, they weren't shortcuts, and they weren't lottery tickets. They were simple rules of money. Save it, invest it, protect it, and grow it. And here's the magical part. These rules haven't changed in thousands of years. The book's central character, Arkad, known as the richest man in Babylon, wasn't born rich. He wasn't gifted treasure by the gods. He wasn't lucky. He built his wealth by learning and applying these timeless principles. The lessons Arkad and other characters share in these stories are not just history lessons. They're life lessons, financial blueprints, and wealth-building roadmaps that can transform anyone's life if they're willing to practice discipline and patience. George S. Clason was a businessman himself. After serving in the U.S. Army during World War I, he turned to writing, but not fiction or novels. He wrote pamphlets on financial wisdom. These pamphlets were distributed by banks and insurance companies to help teach people the basics of money. The most popular of these pamphlets were later compiled into The Richest Man in Babylon. Nearly a century later, the book has sold millions of copies and remains one of the most recommended financial self-help books of all time. So why does this book still resonate so powerfully? Because money hasn't changed. The form may have changed, coins, paper money, digital wallets, but the principles of how to handle money remain the same. Earn more than you spend. Save a portion of what you earn. Invest what you save so it grows. Protect your money from risky ventures. Plan for the future. And constantly improve your ability to earn more. The book explains these truths through stories. And we as humans are wired to remember stories far better than abstract ideas. When Arkad teaches his friends how he became the richest man in Babylon, we lean in because it feels relatable. When a young man loses all his savings in a bad investment, we nod because many of us have been there. When a slave uses discipline to pay off his debts and regain freedom, we feel inspired because it mirrors struggles in modern life. In this video, we will walk step by step through these powerful teachings. We will break them into 6 parts so that you not only understand philosophy, but also see how it applies directly to your life today. And trust me, if you absorb these lessons and actually put them into practice, they can change your financial destiny. So, let's begin our journey into ancient Babylon. Imagine standing on the hot desert sand, watching caravans loaded with goods entering the great city gates. Gold coins clink in the pouches of merchants. Farmers bring in grains. Traders bargain in the marketplace, and craftsmen show off their skills. Amid this bustling prosperity, one man's name is on everyone's lips. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon. People wonder, how did he become so wealthy? What secret does he know? And this is where our story begins. But before we dive into Arkad's teachings, let's pause and reflect on the bigger picture. The philosophy of the richest man in Babylon rests on 3 pillars: discipline, wisdom, and time. Discipline. Wealth is not an accident. It's a habit. Saving money every month requires resisting the temptation to spend everything you earn. Wisdom. It's not enough to save. You must also learn where to put your money, how to invest it, and how to protect it from loss. Time. True wealth is not built overnight. It grows slowly, like a tree from a seed, multiplying over the years through patience and compounding. Think about it. In our world today, many people chase shortcuts, get-rich-quick schemes, lotteries, crypto tips, risky bets. And yet, the majority of them fail. Why? Because they violate these 3 principles. They lack discipline, they lack wisdom, and they lack patience. That's why Clason's book feels like a voice of reason, reminding us that real wealth is built brick by brick, coin by coin, choice by choice. Now that we've set the stage and understood the philosophy, in the next part we'll dive into the very first set of practical lessons, the 7 cures for a lean purse. These are the step-by-step methods Arkad teaches to help anyone grow their wealth, no matter how little they earn. Think of it as ancient Babylon's financial fitness plan. And trust me, it's just as relevant today as it was back then, when Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, was asked how he became wealthy. He didn't keep his wisdom to himself. Instead, he gathered a group of eager learners and shared what he called the 7 cures for a lean purse. These were not magical spells or secret tricks. They were practical steps, grounded in common sense, that anyone could follow to grow rich. Think of them as the ancient world's version of a financial workout routine. Just as a weak body can be made strong through exercise, a lean purse, a thin wallet, can be made fat through discipline and practice. Let's explore the first 3 cures, each of which is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Cure 1. Start thy purse to fattening. Arkad's first lesson was simple. For every 10 coins you earn, spend only 9. Save the 10th. In modern terms, save at least 10% of your income before you spend anything else. This is where most people fail, not because they don't earn enough, but because they spend everything they earn. The natural temptation is to say, I'll save when I start making more. But in reality, if you can't save when you're earning little, you won't magically start saving when you earn more. Your lifestyle will simply expand with your income. Arkad explained that even those who earned very little could put aside 1 coin out of 10. And by doing so, they were making a silent, invisible decision that separated them from the poor masses. They were building a future. Let's put it in modern perspective. If you earn 50,000 Indian rupees per month, just set aside 5,000 Indian rupees as untouchable savings. Not for expenses, not for emergencies, not for gifts. This 10% is your seed capital, your foundation of wealth. Over time, those savings will grow into investments, and those investments will create income. The principle here is pay yourself first. Don't wait to see what's left after bills and shopping. The moment you get paid, remove your 10% and treat it as if it doesn't exist. That is how your purse or wallet begins to fatten. Cure 2. Control thy expenditures. Saving alone won't make you rich if your expenses always outpace your income. That's why Arkad's second cure is about controlling expenditures. He said, what each of us calls our necessary expenses will always grow to equal our income unless we resist the temptation. This is the timeless trap of lifestyle inflation. When we get a salary increase, we move to a bigger house, buy a fancier phone, or dine out more often. The problem is, our necessities expand with our income. What was once a luxury becomes normal, and suddenly we're broke again, just at a higher level. Arkad urges listeners to distinguish between desires and necessities. True necessities are food, shelter, clothing, and a few comforts. But desires are endless. They multiply faster than rabbits. In today's world, we often think we need Netflix, the newest iPhone, or a car upgrade every 3 years. But do we really? Arkad would say no. He would remind us that controlling expenses is not about living miserably. It's about making conscious choices. The modern way to practice this is through budgeting. Track your money. Write down your monthly income, your fixed expenses, and your discretionary spending. Then set limits. If you know you spend 8,000 Indian rupees a month on eating out, bring it down to 4,000 Indian rupees and cook more home. If you're constantly upgrading gadgets, commit to using them for at least 3 years. Small sacrifices today add up to great wealth tomorrow. Arkad's principle here was, live below your means. Not miserably below, but consciously below. Control your expenses, and your wealth will have space to grow. Cure 3. Make thy gold multiply. Now that you've saved a portion and learned to control expenses, the next step is to make your money work for you. Arkad called this the third cure. Put every coin to labor so that it may reproduce its kind, just as the flocks of the field multiply. In simple words, Don't let your money sit idle. Invest it wisely so it generates income. A coin that earns interest becomes 2 coins, and those 2 coins can earn interest to become 4. Over time, wealth multiplies not by your hard work, but by your money's hard work. This is the principle of compound growth. If you invest 10,000 Indian rupees, a return of 10% annually, in 10 years it becomes about 26,000 Indian rupees. In 20 years, it becomes 67,000 Indian rupees. In 30 years, it grows to 1.74 Indian rupees lakh. That's the magic of compounding. The earlier you start, the bigger the snowball becomes. But Arkad was also cautious. He warned against reckless investments. Don't give your money to people who promise impossible returns. Don't invest in things you don't understand. Instead, seek opportunities that are safe, proven, and guided by knowledgeable people. In Babylon, this meant lending gold to reliable merchants who would repay with interest. In our world, this could mean mutual funds, index funds, real estate, or even a small side business you understand well. The key is that your money must multiply. A savings account with 0 growth is better than nothing, but it won't make you wealthy. Your gold must go to work. These 3 cures form the foundation of wealth building. Save at least 10%. Spend consciously, not carelessly. Invest your savings so they grow. They may sound simple, but simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Thousands of years ago, people who followed these rules became wealthy in Babylon. Today, those who follow the same rules still build wealth, while those who ignore them remain trapped in financial struggle. In the next part, we'll explore the remaining 4 cures: how to protect your money from loss, how to turn your home into an investment, how to prepare for the future, and how to increase your ability to earn. Together, these complete the picture of Arkad's timeless financial wisdom. In the previous part, we explored the first 3 cures for a lean purse: saving 10%, controlling expenses, and making your money work for you. These laid the foundation for financial growth. But Arkad didn't stop there. He knew that wealth is not only about growing money, it's also about protecting it, securing the future, and constantly improving yourself. That's why the next 4 cures complete the cycle of wealth building. Let's dive into them one by one. Cure 4: guard thy treasures from loss. It's not enough to make your gold multiply. If you don't protect it, you'll lose everything. Arkad warned his listeners. Gold flees a man who invested in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. This is where so many people fail, even today. How many times have you heard of someone losing all their money in a shady scheme, or being lured into your money scams, or investing in something they didn't even understand? The truth is, greed and ignorance are the fastest ways to lose money. Arkad's advice is timeless. Seek wise counsel. Don't gamble with your savings. If you want to invest, learn about it. If you don't understand, find someone trustworthy who does. Protect your principal at all costs. It's better to earn a safe, steady return than to chase risky ventures and lose everything. In modern terms, this means avoiding Ponzi schemes, suspicious get-rich-quick investments, or giving your money to people without credibility. It also means buy insurance for protection, diversify your investments, and thinking long-term instead of gambling short-term. The lesson here: wealth grows slowly but can vanish overnight. Guard your treasures like a farmer protects his fields. Cure 5: make thy dwelling a profitable investment. Arkad's 5th cure surprises many. He encouraged people to own their homes. No man's purse is fat unless he owns his own roof and is satisfied with it. Why? Because rent drains your purse. When you own your home, your monthly payments build equity. Your asset grows instead of someone else's. In Babylon, this meant buying land and building a house. In today's world, it may mean purchasing a home instead of endlessly renting. But let's add nuance. In modern finance, home ownership isn't always the best investment. If you buy beyond your means, take huge loans, or stretch your budget, your house can become a burden instead of an asset. Arkad's principle still holds true, though. Use your money to build assets, not just pay expenses. Think of it this way. If your rent is 25,000 Indian rupees a month, that's 3 Indian rupees like a year going to someone else. But if you put that into a property where your payment builds equity, you're slowly owning something valuable. Even better, you could rent out part of your home or invest in income-generating property. The modern interpretation: make sure where you live contributes to your financial security, not your financial stress. Your home should strengthen your wealth, not weaken it. Cure 6. Ensure future income. The sixth cure is about thinking ahead. Arkad said, "Provide in advance for the needs of thy growing age and protection of thy family." This is where true wisdom shines. Wealth is not only about today, it's about tomorrow. Everyone grows older. Everyone faces unexpected challenges. Everyone eventually stops working. If you don't prepare, you'll struggle when the time comes. In Babylon, this meant setting aside savings, investing in businesses that provided income, and ensuring one's family had security. Today, this means retirement planning, insurance, pensions, and long-term investments. Think about it. If you want to retire at 60 and live comfortably for 20 years, you need to start preparing decades in advance. If you don't, you'll depend on others, or worse, face poverty in old age. Modern tools like mutual funds, SIPs, systematic investment plans, retirement accounts, and even life insurance all align with Arkad's advice. The message is clear. Take care of your future self, just as you care for your present self. Don't wait until it's too late. Cure 7. Increase thy ability to earn. Finally, Arkad's seventh cure is perhaps the most powerful of all. He said, "The man who seeks to learn more of his craft shall be richly rewarded." Wealth doesn't only come from saving and investing. It comes from earning more. And the only way to consistently increase your earning is to increase your skills, your knowledge, and your value in the marketplace. Think about it. If you earn 40,000 Indian rupees a month today, saving 10% will give you 4,000 Indian rupees. But if you upskill, learn new abilities, and raise your income to 80,000 Indian rupees a month, that same 10% becomes 8,000 Indian rupees. The more you grow, the faster your wealth grows. Arkad emphasized lifelong learning. He encourages listeners to read, to observe, to seek wisdom, and to constantly improve. The Babylonians who mastered their crafts, learned trade, or gained knowledge in new areas naturally earn more. In today's world, this could mean upgrading professional skills, learning new technologies, improving communication, starting a side business, or building multiple income streams. Your earning power is your greatest asset. Nurture it, expand it, and it will reward you for life. The complete picture of the 7 cures. Let's quickly recap all 7 cures together. Save at least 10% of your income. Control your expenses and live below your means. Invest your savings so they multiply. Protect your wealth from risky ventures. Own your home and turn it into an asset. Prepare for the future, retirement, family, emergencies. Constantly improve your ability to earn. These are not just rules from a book. They are universal laws of money. They worked for the Babylonians thousands of years ago, and they work today. The difference between the wealthy and the poor is not luck. It's discipline in applying these cures. Imagine applying these steps for just the next 5 years. Saving 10% consistently. Controlling expenses. Investing in safe and multiplying assets. Owning income-generating property. Planning for retirement. And upskilling yourself constantly. Where do you think you'd be financially? The answer is clear. Far richer, far stronger, and far more secure. This is the wisdom Arkad shared, and it's the wisdom that transformed ordinary men into wealthy citizens of Babylon. In the next part, we'll explore another set of teachings, the 5 laws of gold. These are not just rules, but natural laws like gravity. Ignore them, and you'll lose money. Respect them, and wealth will flow to you. In the earlier parts, we explore the 7 cures for a lean purse, the practical step-by-step guide to building wealth. But Arkad also shared another layer of wisdom, something even more universal. He called them the 5 laws of gold. While the cures were like exercises you practice, the laws are like natural forces of money. Just like gravity pulls things down whether you believe in it or not, these laws of gold operate whether you know them or not. Obey them, and wealth flows to you. Break them, and wealth slips away. Let's explore these 5 laws one by one. and see how they still apply in today's world. Law 1. Gold cometh gladly in an increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. This law echoes the very first cure. Pay yourself first. Money naturally accumulates with those who consistently save a portion of their earnings. Think about it. The habit of saving creates a gravitational pull. Every time you put aside 10% of your income, you're building financial muscle. Over time, these savings attract more opportunities. When you have money set aside, you can invest in businesses, buy assets, or grab opportunities that others miss. In modern terms, this is the power of consistent saving and compounding. It's the SIP, Systematic Investment Plan, approach in mutual funds, or the monthly auto transfer into your retirement account. Wealth doesn't arrive in a single stroke. It grows quietly, coin by coin, month by month. The law is simple. Save first, spend later. Those who live by this law always find their gold multiplying. Law 2. Gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. Money sitting idle does nothing, but money invested wisely works like a servant who never sleeps. Arkad compared it to flocks multiplying in the field. 1 sheep becomes 2, 2 become 4, and soon you have a whole herd. In the same way, 1 rupee invested becomes 2, then 4, then 10. This is the miracle of compounding returns. In Babylon, this meant lending money to trustworthy merchants who paid back with interest. Today, it means investing in mutual funds, stocks, businesses, real estate, or bonds. The form has changed, but the principle remains timeless. Make your money work harder than you do. The lazy man who leaves gold idle earns nothing. The wise man who puts it to work becomes wealthy. Law 3. Gold clingeth to protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. This law is about prudence and guidance. Gold sticks with those who are careful and seek advice before investing. In Babylon, young men often lost money by trusting strangers or chasing unrealistic ventures. But those who sought the wisdom of experienced men kept and grew their wealth. Today, this law translates into 2 lessons. Do your research. Don't jump into investments you don't understand. Seek mentors or financial advisors. Learn from those who have walked the path before you. For example, before investing in stocks, study the company, understand the business, and learn the basics of valuation. Or, if you're buying property, consult those who know real estate well. Don't gamble blindly. Be cautious, and your wealth will cling to you. Law 4. Gold slippeth away from the man who invested in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. This law warns against ignorance. When you put money into things you don't understand, your gold will surely vanish. How many times have we heard stories of people losing fortunes in pyramid schemes, too good to be true crypto coins, or speculative gambles? That's exactly what Arkad warned about thousands of years ago. This law is about resisting greed and being realistic. If someone promises you to double your money in 3 months, you should immediately see the red flag. Gold slips away from those who are careless, greedy, or ignorant. In short, never invest blindly. Knowledge is protection. Law 5. Gold flees a man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusted to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. This final law is about the danger of unrealistic expectations. If you push your money to give you impossible returns, you will surely lose it. In Babylon, this meant men who gave their money to reckless traders or dreamers who promised unbelievable profits. Today, it's the same story. People chasing 100x crypto coins, stock tips from WhatsApp groups, or schemes that collapse overnight. The truth is, money is loyal to patience, not greed. Safe, steady, and realistic returns will always outlast high-risk, high-gamble ventures. This law is a reminder. Don't let your emotions control your investments. Stay rational, stay patient, and your gold will stay with you. The wisdom of the 5 laws of gold. Let's recap the 5 laws simply. Save at least 10% of your earnings. Invest so your money multiplies. Be cautious and seek advice. Don't invest in things you don't understand. Avoid unrealistic returns and tricksters. Together, these laws form the eternal foundation of wealth. They're like the laws of nature. Ignore them and you'll struggle. Respect them and prosperity will follow you. Arkad's audience in Babylon learned that these laws were not about luck or magic. They were about discipline, prudence, and wisdom. The man who followed these laws found himself with overflowing gold. The man who ignored them found himself broke, no matter how much he earned. And this is the same for us today. Look around. How many people earn high salaries but remain broke because they don't save, don't invest, and don't follow the laws of money? And how many ordinary earners quietly build wealth by respecting these timeless rules? The difference lies in practice, not income. Up to this point, we've studied the principles of wealth, the 7 cures for a lean purse, and the 5 laws of gold. But what makes the richest man in Babylon truly powerful isn't just the rules, it's the stories. George S. Clason wrapped these lessons in parables because stories stay with us longer than plain advice. We remember characters, their struggles, their triumphs, and their mistakes. So, let's bring Babylon to life. Let's walk through some of the most important parables and see what they teach us. The story of Arkad, from scribe to richest man. Arkad was not born rich. He was a poor scribe, writing tablets for a living. He worked hard but barely had enough to survive. One day, he realized something profound. Even though he worked constantly, he remained poor, while others in the same city were growing wealthy. He asked himself, why do I not have the same gold? The answer, he realized, was simple. He had never learned the laws of money. So Arkad sought out knowledge. He found Algamish, a wealthy moneylender, and asked him how he had grown rich. Algamish taught Arkad the very first principle. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. From that day, Arkad began saving 1/10 of all his earnings. But he didn't stop there. He invested those savings wisely, learned from his mistakes, and applied discipline. Over time, his wealth grew, and eventually, he became the richest man in Babylon. The lesson? Wealth is not inherited or granted. It's built by knowledge and consistent action. Anyone, starting from nothing, can grow rich by following the laws of money. The slave who paid his debts. Another powerful story is about Dabasir, a camel trader. Dabasir once lived as a slave, burdened with debts he couldn't repay. His situation looked hopeless. But instead of giving up, he made a disciplined plan to regain his freedom. He divided his earnings into 3 parts. 70% for living expenses, 20% to repay his debts, 10% to save. It wasn't easy. His life was modest, his luxuries gone, and his sacrifices painful. But slowly, coin by coin, his debts shrank. Eventually, he cleared them all, regained his honor, and became prosperous again. This story is especially powerful today. Many of us feel trapped in loans, credit cards, car payments, EMIs, or personal debt. Dabasir teaches us that no debt is impossible to overcome if you follow discipline. Live on less than you earn, dedicate a portion to repayment, and never stop saving. Over time, the chains of debt will break. The story of the gold lender. Another parable tells of a man who inherited gold and, eager to grow it quickly, lent it to a brickmaker who promised to buy rare jewels from distant lands. But when the brickmaker returned, the jewels turned out to be worthless glass. The man lost everything. He had ignored the 3rd and 4th laws of gold. Seek wise counsel and don't invest in things you don't understand. This story reminds us of modern investment mistakes. People put money into businesses they don't research, schemes they don't understand, or guaranteed returns that turn out to be scams. The lesson is clear. Don't risk your hard-earned savings on blind trust. If you don't understand it, don't invest in it. The story of the King's Challenge. One of the most fascinating stories is when the king of Babylon asked Arkad to teach his people how to grow wealth. He realized that a city is only as strong as its citizens. If they were poor, the city was weak. If they were rich, the city was strong. So Arkad began teaching groups of men the 7 cures. Each week, they practiced a principle: saving, controlling expenses, investing, protecting wealth, and so on. Slowly, the knowledge spread and more citizens became financially strong. This story highlights the importance of financial education. It's not enough for one man to be wealthy. True prosperity comes when an entire community understands money. Even today, nations grow strong when their people are financially literate. And families grow stable when everyone, not just one person, understands wealth. The story of the luckless man. There's also the story of a man who always blamed bad luck for his poverty. He said opportunities never came his way. But Arkad corrected him. Opportunities come to everyone, but only the prepared recognize and seize them. Luck, Arkad explained, is simply the meeting of opportunity with preparedness. For example, if a man saves gold and one day a chance for a good investment appears, he has the means to grab it. That's not luck, it's preparation. But the man who never saves, even if the same opportunity comes, cannot act. To him, it feels like bad luck. This lesson speaks loudly to our times. Many complain that others get richer because they're lucky. But the truth is, wealth is built on preparation meeting opportunity. Save, learn, and be ready, and when the chance comes, you will feel lucky too. Key lessons from the parables. Each of these stories carries timeless wisdom. Arkad shows us that wealth is built, not given. Dabasir shows us that debt can be conquered with discipline. The gold lender teaches caution in investments. The King's Challenge shows the power of financial education for all. The luckless man reminds us that preparation creates luck. Together, these stories form a treasury of financial wisdom more valuable than gold itself. Bringing it to modern life, these parables may be set in ancient Babylon, but they could just as easily be stories from today. Think about Arkad as a man who started with a low salary, but built wealth through discipline. Think about Dabasir as someone drowning in credit card debt, but digging out step by step. Think about the unlucky man as someone who spends every rupee and misses opportunities because he never saved. The faces change, the cities change, but the lessons remain eternal. In the next and final part, we'll tie it all together. We'll look at how these Babylonian lessons apply directly to modern life, how to save, invest, protect, and grow wealth in the 21st century. And we'll close with a powerful call to action, because wisdom is useless without action. We've journeyed through ancient Babylon. We've listened to Arkad, the richest man, and his 7 cures for a lean purse. We've studied the 5 laws of gold that govern money like gravity. We've walked with slaves, traders, and kings through parables that carry timeless lessons. Now, let's ask the most important question. How do we apply all this today? Because wisdom without action is like a treasure buried in the sand. It exists, but it's useless. If you want to change your financial destiny, the time to begin is now. Applying Babylon's wisdom in modern life. Let's translate each major principle into today's world. Start thy purse to fattening, save first, not last. Set up an automatic system to save at least 10% of your income every month. Treat it like a bill you must pay to yourself. Don't wait until something is left. Create a separate savings or investment account, and make sure the money moves there the day your salary arrives. Control thy expenditures, budget with clarity. Track your spending. You can use an app, a simple Excel sheet, or even pen and paper. Ask yourself, are my needs really needs, or are they just disguised wants? Learn to say no to lifestyle inflation. Lie below your means today, so you can live above your means tomorrow. Make thy gold multiply. Invest wisely. Don't just let money sit in a savings account. Invest in vehicles that generate returns, mutual funds, index funds, retirement accounts, real estate, or businesses. Start early, stay consistent, and let compounding work its magic. Guard thy treasure from loss, be cautious. Before investing, ask yourself, do I understand this? Is it safe? Is the return realistic? Have I sought advice from someone experienced? If the answer is no, don't invest. Remember Arkad's warning. Gold flees from the reckless and greedy. Make thy dwelling a profitable investment. Build assets. Think beyond rent and EMI. Build or own assets that appreciate or generate income. If buying a home is too heavy financially, focus on other assets first. The principle is simple. Let your money go into things that strengthen your future, not drain it. Ensure a future income, think long-term. Don't ignore retirement planning. If you want financial freedom later, start preparing today. Invest regularly for the future. Buy insurance to protect your family. Build passive income streams. Remember, one day, you won't be able to work. Your money must work for you. Increase thy ability to earn, upgrade yourself. The best investment you can ever make is in yourself. Learn new skills. Improve your craft. Start a side hustle. Read, take courses, practice. The more valuable you become, the more income you can generate. And the more income you generate, the faster your wealth grows. The debt plan, modern Dabasir's wisdom. If you're in debt, follow Dabasir's formula. 70% of income for living, 20% for debt repayment, 10% for savings. Stick to it with discipline. Slowly, the mountain of debt will shrink. And while you repay, you're also saving, so you don't fall into debt again. Preparation meets opportunity. Remember the lesson of the unlucky man. Luck isn't random. It's preparation meeting opportunity. Start saving today, so when opportunities appear, you have the means to act. Whether it's a discounted property, a good stock, or a chance to invest in a friend's business, you'll be ready. The man with savings feels lucky. The man without savings feels unlucky. The choice is yours. Why these lessons still matter. Think about it. This book was written almost 100 years ago. The stories are set thousands of years ago. And yet, every single principle is still true. Why? Because human behavior hasn't changed. We still desire more than we can afford. We still chase quick profits. We still fall into debt. But we also still have the ability to practice discipline, build wealth, and create financial freedom. Technology may change. Babylonian coins became paper money. Paper money became digital wallets. But the laws of money never change. The emotional side of wealth. One of the hidden strengths of the richest man in Babylon is how it links money to dignity and freedom. When Dabasir paid off his debts, he didn't just gain wealth, he gained honor. When Arkad became rich, he didn't just fill his purse, he gained peace of mind. And isn't that what we all want? To live without constant financial stress, to know our families are secure, to feel proud of our choices, to be free from the chains of debt and the fear of poverty. That is the true promise of these Babylonian lessons. Now it's your turn. Don't just nod and say, that makes sense. Take action. Starting today, save 10% of your income. Cut one unnecessary expense this month. Begin a simple investment, no matter how small. Write down your debts and start a repayment plan. Pick one skill to improve in the next 90 days. Remember Arkad's wisdom. Wealth doesn't come by chance. It comes by discipline, patience, and practice. As we close this journey, let's return to the gates of Babylon. Picture the grand city, filled with traders, merchants, and craftsmen. Among them, one man, Arkad, stood out not because he was born lucky, but because he mastered the laws of money. He learned them, practiced them, and shared them. And his wisdom has traveled across thousands of years to reach you today. The choice is in your hands. You can ignore these lessons and remain where you are, or you can practice them and watch your purse grow fat, your debts vanish, and your future shine with gold. The richest man in Babylon is not just a character in history. He can be you, me, or anyone who applies these timeless truths. The only question is, will you begin today?